Hi everyone, Thao here. Alright, so I've been using the Pixel 7 Pro for the past week, and although that isn't quite enough time for me to give you a full in-depth review, I do want to share some early impressions and things that sort of stood out to me. First off, the design is very similar, but the whole thing just has a more elegant vibe to it. I haven't seen the other colors in person, but man, this Hazel colorway is beautiful. On the Pixel 6 Pro, you could clearly see that the camera bar is made up of a bunch of separate parts that were pieced together. This here is way more seamless and is essentially one piece of metal that wraps perfectly into the frame, which just looks nicer and more elegant. The switch from glass to a polished aluminum also really makes the back of the phone pop. Like, my husband saw me using this phone across the room and even he was like, whoa, that thing stands out a lot. It's still a very big and very slippery phone, so if you want something a little easier on the pockets, physically and financially, the smaller non-pro version might be a better option. They did make a couple tweaks to the design that makes this phone slightly easier to handle compared to last year. The buttons got moved lower so they're easier to reach with your thumb, and the weight distribution of the phone feels way more balanced. Even though they weigh pretty much the same, the 6 Pro felt a little top heavy, and I'm sure that's because of all that extra glass it's got on the camera bar. On the front, it's rocking a 6.7-inch Quad HD Plus adaptive 120Hz refresh rate display that's brighter than last year. Having a brighter display has made a huge difference for outdoor use. I believe Google said it's 25% brighter. I don't have the exact number, but it's something like 1400 or 1500 nits. Still a little shy of what Apple and Samsung flagship displays offer. But trust me, you'll be good, even in the sun. I've had no issues using this outdoors. The curved edges on either side are also less dramatic this year. Like a lot of people, I'd probably prefer a completely flat display, but I do love how nice it feels on my thumb when doing the universal back gesture. I just find these curved edges make that gesture easier to activate compared to a completely flat one. The Pixel 7 Pro still uses an optical fingerprint scanner, but the good news is that it's much faster and more accurate compared to last year. Here, I'll unlock it a few times in a row so you can see what I'm talking about. Not too shabby, right? It's starting to get cooler here in Toronto, and usually these scanners don't play well with my cold and dry skin, but so far it's been pretty good. You've also got the option for a 2D face unlock this year, which I honestly appreciate. You can't use it for payments, so it's likely not as secure as the fingerprint scanner. If you go into the face unlock settings and toggle skip lock screen on, it's now one of the fastest and most convenient ways to get into your phone. Here, I'm gonna do it a few times, just to show you guys in case you don't believe me. Google talked a lot about machine learning, how their phones are super smart, and all that jazz. Honestly, they deserve to brag because if you've used a Pixel before, they're honestly some of the smartest phones that you can buy. Call screening, now playing, Magic Eraser, and next level speech to text are some of the Pixel's most popular and helpful features. This year, they showcased a few new abilities on the Pixel 7 Pro. The one I absolutely had to try right away was Face Blur. In Google Photos, you can manually apply to old photos with blurry faces, and it actually works surprisingly well. I tried the feature with a couple of old photos, and I'll let the results speak for themselves. You can legit revive some old photos that you wrote off because of a blurry face. Seriously, it's such a helpful editing tool to have. It also automatically applies to pictures as you take them, which should mean less blurry faces in general. You can tell because the picture will have this little icon on it. This is easily one of the smoothest feeling phones I've ever used. The haptics, the animations, it all kind of just works together. The only real slowdowns I've experienced are in Google Photos when trying to edit pictures. A few of you asked me to keep an eye on signal strength, so I did. At home, it's about the same as my Z Flip 4, but at my parents' house, I noticed it was slightly better on the Samsung. Battery life, on average, has gotten me through a day, but when I really pushed it, I had to charge it by like 8 p.m. In all fairness, when I started testing the phone, I did get a prompt saying that it's running pre-production software. So I'm gonna hold off on any conclusions on battery life and performance until later. I've always considered the Pixels the best phones when it comes to photos, and the Pixel 7 Pro is blowing me away all over again. As a mom to a 2-month-old, trust me when I say I've taken so many pictures of her. It's like the ultimate test for a smartphone camera. This phone nails it 95% of the time. I've been so impressed by the pictures. The 48 megapixel telephoto with 5x optical zoom is a nice upgrade over last year. I'm definitely noticing a step up in quality for my zoom shots, which really rounds out the whole camera experience. I'll have to do more testing, but this is looking like one of the best phones for point and shoot photography once again. The only real knock I have so far is that by default, it tends to keep shadows a little darker than I like, but that's kind of the Pixel's aesthetic, right? The whole moody, contrasty look. Personally, for my taste, I either had to use the shadows slider to lift things up before snapping the picture or edit it afterwards in the Photos app. They definitely put some work into video recording as well. You can totally see the improvement, but I still think I prefer the iPhone's quality. That's kind of the gold standard for smartphones right now. It can do 4K 60 FPS video on every single camera, and you can seamlessly switch between all the different lenses while recording, which is a really nice quality of life improvement. The Pixel 7 Pro can also now record 10-bit HDR video, which is like brighter and more colorful footage. You can't see it through the screen, but trust me when I say it looks really good on this display. They also added a cinematic mode, but it's limited to 1080p, and yeah, from my testing so far, it's not blowing me away. Either way, I'm glad Google is taking video more seriously. With every social media platform pushing video content over pictures nowadays, it's gonna be more and more important, especially for young buyers. Anyways, that's pretty much a summary of my first week with the Pixel 7 Pro. Feel free to leave any questions you have about the phone in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here.